The Guerrilla House Podcast.
Hey, everybody. It's Jerry Howard from Guerrilla House Productions here for episode 4 of the new Guerrilla House Podcast. Last one was my favorite one. I got to have my dude Victor on. We talked about metal and movies, you know. Hopefully you tuned in. Got a lot of good feedback on that one. I hope some of you checked out the film Deathgasm. It was fun to dissect with my man Victor. I am going to be seeing him shortly because I just got my tickets in Salt Lake City to go see Cavalera Conspiracy. They're going to perform the entire Sepultura Chaos AD album, and I'm super stoked on that because that's like my favorite album, maybe easily top 10 of all time. I love it. I still listen to it all the time. So the last time I talked to you guys, when I was with Victor, it was my first week of summer break. I just got out of school. You've heard me talk a lot about coming in hot. Well, the next week after I made the podcast, I have been gone the whole time. My wife and I, to celebrate her 50th birthday, happy birthday, Stacy, we visited Italy and London, and that's what I've been doing. That's where I've been at. We bookended it in London. I've been to the UK several times, most of the time in Brighton, and I have been to London, but only for like a day or certain events. But this time I was there for a significant amount of time, and I was doing things in London every day. And I had a blast. I got to meet up with 3 of my good friends, Jules, Ian, and Gima. They took me around in Hackney. We were in Hackney, I believe it's in North London. Jules is from there and showed us around. It was incredible. Had some incredible food, and I stumbled upon this cool place. This guy was like a hoarder, and he had all this film equipment, anything you could think of, projectors, editing systems, DVD, 8mm, 16mm, 35mm. It was amazing. Posters. I got 2 posters from him. I got The Challenge of the Masters, the old Shaw Brothers movie, and I also got the 8-pole diagram fighter. And I bought a couple books off of them, The Art of Vengeance, Volume 1 and 2, which are all kung fu movie posters. They're absolutely stunning. Just sit there and stare at them. The guy had all these pictures. His name's escaping me right now, but it's in Hackney. And he had all these pictures of his dad meeting up with all these famous Hollywood people. And he told us that the movie Cinema Paradiso was based on him. I don't know if that's true. I hope it is. The man was brilliant. My book said 13 pounds, and he wouldn't accept anything less than a $5, and it was brand new. And he showed us he had a movie theater. He strings up films. He was getting ready to show Wild Strawberries by Bergman, and I would have loved to have seen it. It only seats about maybe 10 people. He also had a Werner Herzog screening coming up, and he was telling me Tarantino was coming there to meet him, and he says to me, Tarantino's going to come here and buy all these films. He's going to want to buy all these films. That's what he said. And I said, well, that's good, right? And he said, no, none of this stuff's for sale. This stuff is a treasure. And I was just like, this guy is my man right here. Great time with him. Hackney was great. Managed to go to the cinema, the Curzon Cinema in London after a major walk my wife and I did. I think we got like 12 miles in that day. Saw a movie called Tornado. It was a British samurai film, so that caught my attention. While it wasn't the best film I have ever seen, it most definitely was worth watching, especially for anybody into westerns or samurai films. Now I'm on the precipice of returning to work. I'm back. We went to Italy. I forgot to let me rewind a little bit. Getting ahead of myself. We went to Italy. Drove all around that country. My favorite part was Piedmont. We were in very peaceful places. Got to meet up with my friends Marco and Laura, and man, I just ate all the best food. Piedmont's got some of the best food I've ever had in my life. I had this one dish. It was stuffed mussels, and it was absolutely probably one of the best things I've ever eaten. Every day was like that. It was brilliant. Had a great time with my wife. We ended up traveling a lot, all the way down to Tuscany. I met up with a couple other friends and just had a really good time. Happy to be back. I missed my cats. Now I'm getting ready to go back to work. So again, this might be one of the last podcasts you get from me for a while, but that's okay. Moving along, having good times. I wanted to let you know a little bit about the progress of Chapter 2, Carl Finds God in Bloodbath at Palookaville. Pretty much putting on the sound effects and doing the audio mix, and we're done. We're pretty much at the final cut. Tightening it up a little bit, but it's done. We're going to have a party here probably within the next few months. So we'll let you all know. Moving forward on Chapter 3, it's been a little slow because I've been having fun this summer, not really doing a lot of film things right now other than being a fan. Yeah, we're slow, but that's okay. We really have no one to answer to, so we're making the movie at our pace, and we gave ourselves 3 years, and actually we are right on schedule. We are getting ready to shoot. We just got to find a couple locations. I think we found one, and we cast my friend Gretchen. Gretchen Phillips is going to be playing a big part in our film, so we're happy to have her aboard. She's a super awesome human being, and can't wait to get ready to shoot this. It's going to be fun. All right. It's good to be back. I don't really want to go back to work, even though I like my job, but I like sleeping in until 10 o'clock. I like relaxing. I like being around my cats. And I like staying up till midnight, 1 a.m. every night watching movies. I like reading my book and drinking my coffee with my cat on my lap. That is the life. Okay, for this episode, I was wondering what our subject should be, so I went back to the dreaded stack. Now, I've already had a couple comments, excuse me, from some of my friends who are mainly my listeners, and my friend asked me, like, are you just going to do a bunch of shit about the crappy movies in your stack? And he's got a point there. I mean, why are these movies on my stack? But again, let me just reiterate. I say dreaded because it's just because every time I look at these movies just sitting on the stack, I feel weird. I feel guilty. Like, what the fuck, man? Why can't I get my shit together and watch one of these movies? I purchased them. Why can't I watch them? There's something that attracted me to these films. Most of the time when I pull something off the stack, 95% of the time, I'm blown away. 99% of the time, I'm surprised. 1% of the time, I'm like, oh yeah, I see why you weren't watching it. But the main reason these movies sit is more of the content. Some tend to be a little more serious, require a little bit more attention. I don't want to say they're not as fun, but they're not as fun, if you catch my drift. Okay, I've been doing a good job getting through the dreaded stack, but what really pushed my choice for episode 4 was the Seattle International Film Festival. The Seattle International Film Festival, which I am a member of SIF, they send you out, if you're a member, that you can buy your tickets for special events early. And their special event for August was Akira Kurosawa retrospective. And they were showing a bunch of brand new 4K versions of his films. So this inspired me. I bought one and I went and saw Ran, which was incredible. It was at the old Cinerama. So on my stack was one of the few blind spots in my Akira Kurosawa collection, and that's Dodes'ka-den. And Dodes'ka-den is an interesting movie, and it had been sitting on my stack forever. And I knew it was going to be good, but I said, okay, I'm going to watch this. And so not only was I watching this movie for my birthday, which was just in April, I was the recipient of 2 Akira Kurosawa books, both of which I've read before, but I did not own. I had checked them out of the library a long, long time ago. One was something like an autobiography. That's like the classic Kurosawa biography. And then I got from Donald Ritchie, The Films of Akira Kurosawa. So I've been reading along as I've been going, including the essays I always get off of Criterion, which are amazing. And I have my little class going on here. And a lot of the stuff I already knew, but I got a little deeper knowledge now. I really enjoyed it, very engaged. But I have a beautiful Criterion Dodes'ka-den. It's a laser disc, and it is in mint shape. I got it off eBay for like $15, and it is absolutely brilliant. And the packaging, it just sit there and stare at it. It's like the book I got off the dude in Hackney. But it's an interesting film in Kurosawa's filmography because it's 1970 was the release, and Kurosawa's coming off Redbeard. Now, if you haven't seen Redbeard is a fantastic film, but it wasn't a commercial success. So Akira Kurosawa was having trouble getting his film made. Let me say that again. Akira Kurosawa was having trouble getting his film made. Now, I had read about this a long time ago. Just that statement alone, for any person jumping into this field, filmmaking, it's a little disheartening. But it's also like, well, shit, if Kurosawa's having trouble, you know you're going to have trouble too. So it's just part of the game. It is what it is. If Kurosawa's having trouble, then we're all going to have trouble, especially with his resume. I mean, he already made The Seven Samurai, Yojimbo Sanjuro, High and Low. I mean, these are just off the top of my head. And he's having trouble making his film, getting people to back it. That's insane to me. Also had a similar experience. One time I got to meet John Sells, my friend who does a lot of the audio for my films. He used to, not anymore. Carson's doing that now. But a long time ago, like 20 years ago, his sister-in-law was John Sells' assistant. So he came to what used to be called the EMP. It's McPop now. And he had a special screening of his new film, Honey Dripper. And we saw a rough cut of it. And we were in there. It was very intimate. And then at the end, I realized that Mr. Sells is trying to get money. I'm like, holy shit. John Sells can't get money for a film that we just watched that's obviously good. Then I got to hang out with him afterwards, and he was a very cool guy, man. I just remember listening to him talk, thinking, man, there's no way around this struggle. If you're going to make films, you're going to struggle, and that's just part of it. And you got to keep at it, no matter what level, whether you're Kurosawa, John Sells, or stinking Guerrilla House Productions. It doesn't matter. It's the characteristic of the trade. At any rate, I digress. All right. So Akira Kurosawa having a hard time making his new movie. So he scales it back. So he's limiting his budget. He's going to shoot it differently. Well, the film cost less than $1 million and didn't even come close to grossing that amount. And Kurosawa had failed again. And he couldn't get a job to save his life. So that's when the Soviet Union film industry stepped in and funded Dursa Uzula. And then finally, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas did Kagemusha in 1980. But it's really interesting watching this movie because it's a beautiful film. And right after it, because of the failure, and it wasn't just this movie, it was a combination of things, which I'll get to. Kurosawa tried to kill himself. And it breaks my heart watching this movie because I love the man. He's truly one of the artists in the world who I love with all my heart. Every film, everything he does, his approach, I just admire the man. And at any rate, it wasn't just that. He had been hired to do an American film, his first one called Tora Tora Tora. It's murky whether Kurosawa was fired or he quit or he sabotaged it. But he, in American circles and American executives, became known as difficult. You know what? So what if get out of Kurosawa's way is what I say. Get the hell out of his way. But that was a big problem. And then also, interesting part of this, he wrote a screenplay called Runaway Train, which would later, I just talked about this, I just posted about it. I got a cool laser disc of the movie. It was made in 1985. It was a Canon film with John Voight and Eric Roberts, Russian director. I can't remember his name right offhand, but the movie is fantastic. But that's based on Kurosawa's script. Now let's talk about Dodes'ka-den. Like I said, this is a departure at this time for Akira Kurosawa of how he tells a story. His movies were quite large, and this one, like I said, is scaled back. Kurosawa goes complete neo-realist, covering a slum in Tokyo, a variety of characters. He has several plot lines going on, but no plot. No plot like Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, Stray Dog. It is a hangout movie, like Pure Cinema Podcast would call it. A vignette movie, I've heard some people call it. But he takes us into the depths of this area of Tokyo that they basically shot it in a slum, like in a dump, and rebuilt it. So it has this realistic quality to it. It is his first color film. Now, I have watched color films because I watched some of the later films. I've watched Kagemusha, Ran, Dreams, etc. And it's interesting to watch. This is his first color movie, which is a trip. If you haven't seen a color Akira Kurosawa movie, it stands out because the guy, not only is he a film director and writer, but he's a painter. For example, I just saw Ran, like I said before, at SIF. So I was reading about Ran in my book. And to prepare in pre-production, he spent 5 years painting the storyboards. He painted them. So it feels like you're watching a painting, a live action painting. It really does. And Dodes'ka-den is no different with his use of color. What really stood out, if anyone sees Akira Kurosawa movie, is The Wipe. The Wipe, which influenced George Lucas, George Miller. But The Wipe, he takes it away. And how does that impact the film? It makes it feel more realistic. He's just straight cutting, no fancy wipes. You're just in it. Now, the storyline, I'm going to have some spoilers here, but I'm going to try to keep it spoil-free. It starts out, it's quite a unique scene with a mother and her son praying. Buddhist, they're praying. And then the son pops up and acts like he's going to work. But he gets into his imaginary trolley and starts driving. But he's not driving. He's just pretending he's driving around the slum, acting like people are getting on the trolley, getting off the trolley. And that's where the title comes from. Dodes'ka-den. Dodes'ka-den is onomatopoeia. It means clankety clank, basically, in English, is from what I've read. But the kid, this little fucker, keeps going the whole time, Dodes'ka-den, 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 which I'm very thankful for because he taught me how to say the title. Not very well versed in Japanese language, so I appreciated that. But immediately, what sticks out about this film for me, I am an educator. I work in a Title I school. I have so for over 20 years. And we talk about the culture of poverty. You have to understand it when you're dealing with it every day. In most movies, in Hollywood movies, they portray it in a quite simple way of the struggle. But, it's just like normal life with a lot of struggle, of course. Good times, bad times. But, a lot of it is the culture of poverty, immediate gratification. And a lot of it is sometimes fantasy. Trying to forget the reality. This is just a general view of it, but Akira Kurosawa was nailing it. And this movie had to be, written in 1969, late 60s, and it's based on a book, so I'm sure that was written in the 60s. I should have done some research on it, but I just thought of it now. But at any rate, he's nailing it. Kurosawa nails it. Kind of like Charles Dickens nails it. They both get the culture of poverty and really take you into it. So first off, we got the trolley driver, and he's going around. He's kind of revealing the setting. We see these ladies in the center of the town at a communal spot where everybody washes clothes, does their washing. And that's where a lot of the gossip and everything happens. And we begin to meet the people we will see for the next 2.5 hours. So I'm just going to go over those really fast. There is one about a beggar and a son. And this one is quite compelling. The son is quite engaging. He is sent out to get food. He has a lot of charisma. The people are very open to him. They give him the food. He takes it back, and they're living in this little car. And while they're eating, Dad always goes into a fantasy world describing their dream house that they'll have one day. The kid is very tolerant, kind of knows his dad is losing it, but he has a good heart. He loves his dad, so he listens. He's patient. He's empathetic. And it's cool. They sit there and eat their food, and he goes on and on about his fantasy. We watch their demise. We watch them struggle with getting the proper nourishment. And this is where the color really comes in for me watching Kurosawa's first color movie, because every time they return to the screen, I feel like I'm seeing them deteriorate. They become more ghostly. Very haunting, disturbing to watch their demise, especially a 11-year-old kid, maybe 10, and it is chilling. It reminded me a little bit, because I just saw Ran, of the father in Ran, who almost seems like he has passed away. He doesn't in the movie. This is my interpretation. And it's almost like walking around as a ghost, seeing what wreckage his decision has left on the world. He's going through fire. He's seeing everything, and his face changes. He becomes more ghostly. I was really seeing maybe that connection, or maybe that's just me, but I was very engaged with that storyline. The next one was quite funny, and it's about these two drunks. Immediate gratification. These guys, there's going to be some dumbass who says, why they're spending their money on proper things. Well, these guys are struggling. They're going for the drink. They want to feel good now. But their wife's swapping. But sometimes it feels like they don't even know they are. They're just so fucking drunk. They don't know where they're at. And the wives are okay with it. It seems like they got a cool thing going on, I guess, if you're into that thing. But there's no drama. They just kind of accept it. And that story unfolds, and it's quite funny and nice relief for some of the storylines that you're seeing. The one I really got me, and this one's got a little bit of spoiler, is the character Shima. Shima comes out of his house, and he has this weird tic. There's something up with this guy. He's not getting the proper medical attention. But he has this tic, And it is kind of funny, and it is meant to be funny, I think. But people talk about it. But people love this guy. He actually has a job, a decent job, and we learn from the gossiping ladies in the middle of town doing their washing that his wife is just not very well liked. She's super serious. She seems mean. And he brings his friends home to drink, and she's just like, not subservient. In a lot of Japanese movies, I don't know, I'm not an expert on Japanese culture, but in the films I've watched, they come home, the woman brings out something to drink, is addressing the guys, bowing to him. This lady's having none of that. She was like, oh, you and your knucklehead friends are coming out to drink. Well, I'm getting the fuck out of here. See you later. And one of the guys makes a point of saying something, that he doesn't like how the wife treats Shima. And Shima, this goes into the theme of changing roles of women, because Shima defends her, accuses the man of old thinking. You don't know what we've been through. We've gone through hard times. We live in this place. I had no money. I had no job, and this person stuck with me. This person is my rock. She is awesome. I don't have a problem with it. Why do you have a problem with it? That hit me like a ton of rocks. Like, people all the time are talking about their neighbors, whether their friends. Like, why would you do that? How would you do that? Who the fuck cares? It's not your life. And I'm seeing it with Shima, and he says something to the dude, and the dude's like taken back, and he immediately apologizes, which I thought that was cool too. He's open-minded to a different way. So you're seeing some changes in the old ways of the culture into the new ways. But what's important to think of is these changes, the man's acceptance is critical, because that's breaking the old ways. So I was very much into Shima, the mixture of comedy and the powerful themes, the wife who, obviously we don't get to learn a lot about the wife. We're kind of like listening to the gossip and everything, and we learn as kind of like the guy's friends learn. So I thought that was very compelling. That was one of my favorite vignettes. Going along that same theme was another one with this man who has several children. And through the gossip, we learn about his promiscuous wife. She's rolling around town. And one day he's feeding all his kids. He's very loving. And one of the kids asks, "Are you my dad? I've been hearing a lot of rumors that you're not my dad." Another kid pipes up, "Yeah, I've heard that too." Another kid pipes up, "No, I've heard that too." And the man is not insulted. He could let his ego get in the way. I'm sure that hurts, knowing that this might be true. But the man asks his kids, "Do you think I am your father?" And they have to think about that. What is a father? Is a father just blood? Or is a father somebody who takes care of you, who loves you, who puts you to bed at night, gives you new clothes, and makes sure you're fed? Now, I'm paraphrasing, but it's going along the themes of changing times. What we try to define something, put it into a box. And here is a guy who won't be put into a box. Even though he's going through hard times, he could be like getting his ego just being destroyed, but he looks at the kids, what is important to him. And again, it has nothing to do with everyone else. It's his life. And he's making his way through these tough times, and he is taking on responsibility. He has a good heart. It is very thought-provoking. The next storyline that we get to witness is the story between husband and wife, Hei and Ocho. Now, they're having problems, and they're kind of stuck. I don't want to get too much into this one. You can watch the film. but it is an interesting plot line, and we learn a lot through the ladies in the communal washing area about this. The next one disturbed me. Uncle and aunt, they are taking in their niece to make ends meet. The mom, the auntie, is working really hard. The father, the uncle, is at home. He is a bum. He just drinking all day. He thinks he's above it all. And he is home alone with his niece. Now, I don't want to get too much into this, but the uncle is a shithead. He is an entitled prick. And this is an ongoing problem we have with, especially with, entitled men in this world. It just doesn't seem to be a problem characteristic with this country. It seems to be global. And, we just had, Me Too come out, and that was very powerful. And here we go, ongoing problems 50 plus years. Movies made in 1970, and we're getting a glimpse at a predatory individual taking advantage of the vulnerable. Very disturbing. Good story in this piece, in this vignette. Highly recommend, but this one is a little bit of a gut punch. And last but not least, we have Tamba, who is pretty much the heart of the community. Now, he is not in poverty, but still lives there. He is home, and he's not leaving it. And we see this example a lot in life. Somebody who's going to stay and stick it out. This is their home. Now, this is where Kurosawa deviates again. Generally, in past Kurosawa movies, this character would be the one who saves everybody. The one who comes in and just knows what to do, knows what to say. But no, he is a character that shows they're having a shared experience. It's more communal. They're communal in their struggle and their grief. He shows empathy. He helps people, but not by, I'm right, let me have this big expression, this big speech in my Oscar-winning performance to tell you how you can improve. No, he's completely different. He listens. He understands and tries to, even when he's being a victim. He stands behind his community. He's there for them. He says an important thing, that the bad things are not what define us. Because sometimes when we have bad things happen in our life, I really connected to this because it sticks to us. And it's not a pattern. We all have bad things that, we do. We might be mean. We might do something out of character. These things happen over time. And Tamba's here to remind us that those actions, when you're having hard times, when you don't do the right thing, they are not what define us. Learning, gaining wisdom, and moving along, that is what defines us. Our consistent pattern, our overcoming. Very inspiring. Dodes'ka-den, boom, blows my mind. See, this is the stack, people. It's not dreaded. It just sits there for so long, it makes me upset thinking I did something wrong. So the dreaded stack inspires, and I watched an amazing film that, I've been avoiding because of the length, because of the content. It's a little too serious. I like genre films more. And very inspired. A lot I've been thinking about. And because of Bloodbath in Palookaville, which is sort of what do I mean sort of? It's an anthology / vignette movie. It got me thinking about this style of film. And I started digging into the Guerrilla House collection. I was looking at Kurosawa's film, Dodes'ka-den, and thinking, is that the first vignette film? made in 1970. Now, I know there's been anthology movies, and that's another thing I'm having trouble finding a definition for this, which it doesn't bother me. I'll put my own definition on it. Like a vignette movie, a hangout movie. I see all these different interpretations. It doesn't matter. An anthology. You can put your own interpretation on it. It's just a variety of stories that thematically come together, maybe, in some cases not. But it got me thinking, what was the first one? So immediately I start digging through my collection. And I'm thinking, is Kurosawa the first again? Is this guy the first again? I mean, I guess Rashomon could be considered a vignette movie. That's 1950. So I don't know. So I started thinking, I was digging in my collection, and I thought immediately of Fellini, Amarcord, which I just watched a couple years ago. That's probably my favorite Fellini movie. But in my dreaded stack, even though I've seen this movie before, but I haven't watched the Laserdisc, I pulled out La Dolce Vita. I forgot that movie was a vignette movie because I haven't seen it since like 1992. So I popped that sucker on and I was blown away. 1960 is Fellini, the guy who invented vignette movies. I don't know. I started digging. I kept digging. Quick note on La Dolce Vita. I'm not going to break it down like Dodes'ka-den. But Dolce Vita I was engaged with because it very much is relevant for today with social media. Social media, we have a lot of people who pipe in who don't do anything. And it's just hipsters, even without social media. People who go to all the right events, they diss on everything. That sucks, and don't really do shit. They just dissing on art, kind of trying to say what's cool, and they don't really have anything to show. They're just kind of hanging on, being part of the group, and just kind of pathetic. At any rate, the Dolce Vita just captures this. People just constantly trying to have fun, distract from life, wanting to forget about everything, and just the constant search for fun, which is impossible, really. It really is, but just the distraction of the mundane, the monotony, the normal life, and it's just kind of unhealthy. And La Dolce Vita definitely shows this with all the hangers-oners. The ending of that movie is crazy. But I watched La Dolce Vita, and I was blown away. And then I started looking through my stack again. And I found another vignette movie by the great Robert Altman, Nashville. I had never seen that movie from beginning to end. I have seen parts of it over and over and over and over again. But I watched it from beginning to the end, and I enjoyed the film. It gave you a glimpse into music scene in Nashville, kind of showed some of the characteristics, some of the themes of La Dolce Vita, hanger-oners, people, trying to just be a part of the in crowd. I like Nashville. And then this is a personal thing. I didn't love it more because I wasn't connecting with the music. I didn't think the music was poor or anything, but I was having a hard time connecting with it. I didn't love it, and that's a big part of it. But I did like Keith Carradine and Lily Tomlin and the early Jeff Goldblum. That was a trip. And I love Ned Beatty. It's always good to see him. So those were all great movies. And because I decided to tackle a film from the dreaded stack, I was inspired and went down the wormhole of vignette movies. And I came up with a bunch that I have to go up next. Here's some might inspire you to watch them. In my collection, it's my collection only, I came up with American Graffiti. Now, I thought Lucas might be the one who, like, if you talked to me 2 weeks ago, I would think Lucas was the one who invented the vignette movie, but I couldn't be more off base. But there'd be something if he was inspired by Kurosawa, not only for graffiti, but then Star Wars, that would be really cool. I like that idea. Pulp Fiction, more of chapters. I kind of say no to it being the way I interpret a vignette movie, but I like how all the stories interweave. It's really good. If you want to put it in there, fine. Great film. Iñárritu is another vignette filmmaker. Babel and Amores Perros, both really strong movies. Might have to revisit both of those. Linklater with his before and after movies, Before Sunset, I guess not before movies, I should say. Slacker and one of the great vignette movies, Dazed and Confused. P.T. Anderson, Magnolia. Altman again with Shortcuts, which I love Shortcuts way more than I like Nashville. Shortcuts is a much better film. I am a fan of Altman's 90s films. He did really good work in that time. Good comeback with The Player, Kansas City, Shortcuts. Mystery Train, Jim Jarmusch, another vignette filmmaker. Coffee and Cigarettes. I don't own that one, but Mystery Train is an incredible film and a great example of the style of movie I'm talking about. Another one I'm on the fence of is Sin City. Sin City is kind of like Pulp Fiction in that, but it works for me. There's vignettes coming together. I like it. It's a cool movie. I'm a fan of that. Quaden, but more of an anthology. It stops with the chapters like Pulp Fiction, but great movie. Chungking Express. Gotta love Chungking Express. That's another great example. So, there it is. Dodes'ka-den. You never know what wormhole you'll go down if you just watch this movie that's been sitting on your pile. Remember, you put it on your pile for a reason. So, you never know what treasures are inside that pile. I guarantee there's something about it you're going to connect with. So I encourage everybody to go into their dreaded stack and watch those films. Maybe the length's a little longer. Maybe the content's a little bit more serious. But we should all try to push ourselves to finish our dreaded stack. I'm going to get more into this another time, maybe another episode. But I don't have time to do it now. Like I said, I'm getting ready back for work. I got to get going on this movie again, get the shoot going. But what a great way to spend the last few weeks of my summer is exploring this and being engaged. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me some feedback, anything I missed. I enjoy your feedback when you reach out to me. I will be back next time, and you won't have to listen to my ass the whole time. I have a guest coming on next time. I've arranged Don Chili Ortega. We're going to talk about baseball movies. So that's what's coming up next. I'm going to try to have more guests. I hope you all have a great end of the summer, and I'll talk to you soon. Guerrilla House. Love you all, beautiful people.